Hello, I'm your host, Leonard Duncan. Welcome to a new episode of ATV-TALK and Motorsports Podcast. Please join us every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We bring you interviews with industry professionals, live events, live news about the motorsports industry in every episode. Enjoy the show. Whether we are out riding with our friends and family or racing in extreme environments, we all need good tires. That's why I recommend GBC Power Sports Tires, a division of Greenball Corp. Their products, which include XC Master, Mini Master, and Groundbuster 3, are what leading professionals in the ATV-UTV industry are using. You can get your tires at greenballtires.com or find them on Instagram as GBC Tires for further inquiries. Are you looking for the best suspension technology for your sport ATV? Look no further than Elka Suspension, the industry leader in sport ATV suspension technology. With championship wins in prestigious events such as the Dakar Rally, Score, Best in the Desert, ATV MX, Cross Country, and Works, Elka Suspension has established itself as the go-to choice for athletes and enthusiasts alike. But they don't just stop at ATVs. They're constantly expanding into new markets, including UTVs, trucks, SUVs, pit bikes, snowmobiles, and more. Their commitment to innovation and quality means they're always looking to improve and adapt so you can enjoy a smooth ride wherever you go. Want to learn more about what Elka Suspension can do for you? Visit their website at elkasuspension.com or give them a call at 450-655-4855. They will always be happy to answer your questions and help you find the perfect suspension solution for your needs. Welcome to DBR Racing Products, the leader in 3D modeling and innovations. Since 2015, they have been revolutionizing the industry, starting with their groundbreaking YFZ 450R battery boxes. But they didn't stop there. They have continued to push the boundaries, constantly improving their design with each new version. In 2018, they introduced the game-changing Vortex EXO cage, specifically designed to securely hold the Vortex ECU in a safe and sturdy location. This breakthrough innovation ensures your ECU stays protected even in the toughest racing conditions. At DBR, they understand that every detail matters. That's why they also offer an array of essential products to enhance your racing experience. Their spark plug hold downs keep your engine firing at peak performance, while their LTR breather boxes ensure optimal ventilation for your machine. Their LT250 engine skid plates are a must-have for those seeking unmatched protection. Engineered to shield your engine from impacts and rough terrain, they provide the ultimate defense for your ATV. But that's not all. They've developed ProPeg mounts that allow you to use TRX 450R Nerf bars, giving you greater control and maneuverability on the track. To explore their full range of innovative products and learn more about DBR Racing, visit their website at www.dbratv.com. You can also reach them directly at 507-828-1233. Their knowledgeable team is ready to assist you with any questions or inquiries. DBR Racing Products, where innovation meets performance. Unleash the power within you. Jessica Elioff, how are you, young lady?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. It's been maybe 48 hours since you crossed the finish line and won your first WXC championship. Has it sunk in yet?
It's sinking in a little bit more and more as the time goes on. At first, it was like all smiles and like unbelievable, and it's like sinking in now.
So when I first spoke to you, the first time I had you on the show, You were in the back of a pickup truck with a dome light on your phone. Uh, I think you were in Florida. It was you're basically a rookie, and you've come so far.
Yeah, that was I can't remember if that was 2019 or 20, but it was in between Florida and Georgia when I was, yeah, still a rookie.
It was 20, and um, hopes and dreams. You won a race your rookie season. You've evolved. You won 6 races this year. Tell me a little bit about the trials and tribulations of the year.
Oh boy. So, yeah, I mean, it it was a challenging year. The I mean, in 2021, I was looking back, I got 2 wins, and then 2022, I got 3 wins, and then this year I got 6 wins. So progressively getting better and better. And I was hoping for more wins this year, but 6 is still a lot better than 3 the year prior. So the beginning of the year was strong. I mean, we practiced quite a bit down south and just training in the gym and trying to work out every day that I couldn't ride throughout the whole season. But at the beginning, it was strong. I got a couple hole shots um, out front. Some races was better than others, which you're gonna have that. But um, like at the beginning, and even if I don't get a great start, I feel like I can still work my way through the pack. And I was able to finish top 3 every race but one this year. I got 4th. And we got every condition out there, which, super muddy at some and like slick and mud mess. That was at the Penton, which was in Ohio, but it was terrible racing, terrible cleanup, but it is what it is. But we had everything from mud to dust where you couldn't see but a couple feet in front of you, and then perfect conditions, kind of like Ironman. So I mean, it was a great year. Every race had its different challenges, whether it was lappers or me making simple mistakes, or just trying to work my way through the pack. But I was able to come out with more wins this year and be able to take the championship. So I'm beyond excited.
So the first time we spoke, uh, you oozed enthusiasm. You seem a little more reserved. Is that because it's all sinking in, or are you just tired from a really stressful?
I think it's a little bit of both. It still is sinking in, like we were talking about earlier. It's been a huge roller coaster of different events happening with, you know, great races, a lot of stress at the end of the year because, coming into the last race, I knew I had to take top 3. And I was telling my husband, I'm like, if you would have told me that, mid season, hey, you got to take top 3, I'd be like, okay, that's accomplishable. Like, yeah, I can do that. No problem. Coming into Ironman, I'm like, oh, shoot. Okay. Like, I know I can do this, but the pressure is on. And I think it's just a little bit of everything of knowing that the pressure is off, but then also knowing that next year is going to be hard as well. Just trying to keep the title of number 1 and, you know, just still knowing how much hard work I put into it this year and knowing how much more I'm going to have to put into it next year to keep the title. So it's all just a revolving circle of excitement and enthusiasm, but then also knowing that, well, shoot, I got to work even harder next year because I know Chloe's going to be up there with us every race as well. And, it's just, we all just keep getting faster and better. So I'm thinking, like, okay, what can I do to improve myself to make sure that I'm just a little bit faster than the other girls?
That's kind of what it comes down to. Every professional sport is you have to redefine yourself every year because that's what everybody else is doing to achieve what you did the year prior.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think this analogy is correct as far as when you earn a number one plate that they can hand you this little thin number one, but in reality, what they're handing you is a solid 100-pound weight that has a number one on it because there is more pressure added.
Oh yeah. Yes. I 100% agree with that. I mean, you don't want to. You want to take the number 1 plate and be like, whew, okay, I did it. We're done. And it'd be one thing if that was like not going to race next year, but knowing that I have that title, just like when I got a whole shot, I'm like, okay, now I know I can do it. I know I'm capable. Let's just continue to do it. But it didn't happen every race, which I know I'm capable, but the circumstances just didn't play out how I would like them to. So, same thing with the championship. I know I'm capable of doing it again next year, but I'm just hoping it all plays out the way I want it to, which it never does. But just trying to, like we just talked about, trying to think of what I can do to make it better next year, easier next year for me, or what can I do different than the other girls that's going to improve me. And, it's just, yeah, it's a great thing to have, but yes, it is also like a weight of, well, shoot, now people are going to be thinking, well, yeah, she's going to do it again.
So you and Hannah had a back and forth all year long, with the surprise of rookie Chloe coming in and winning a round. Did you or Hannah see that coming?
Um, I knew she had it in her. I think she needed to build that self-confidence in herself first. And once she knew that she could run with us, I knew that she was going to be up top. And it was, it's anybody's game. I mean, we're all great in the class and anybody could win at any moment. But I feel that, come the end of the year, once Chloe got that confidence she needed by winning a race and knowing that she can run up there with us, I knew that it would probably be me, her, and Hannah battling, come the end of the year, us three.
Yes, it was. I spoke to Chloe before the final two rounds, and actually her episode, I know this is going to be weeks down the road, but her episode is going to drop tomorrow. But everybody's going to think, oh, it's coming out tomorrow when they're actually listening to you. But it was the day after you guys had ridden a team race together.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So she spoke very highly of you, and she is a very confident young lady.
Oh, yeah. She definitely is. Absolutely.
I haven't been able to speak to Hannah very much. I had her on one show, which was a joint championship show, and I haven't been able to connect. Um, so, uh, how close are you as a group? I know that Chloe made it sound like everybody was pretty close. Tracy seemed to as well. But in your feeling, how close of a group are you?
No, I would agree with both of them. I mean, we all have our different lifestyles, but I talk to Tracy through social media, probably maybe once a week, once every other week. Me and Hannah Snapchat each other a lot. She does landscaping as well, so we'll just send each other pictures of like what she's got going on for the day, what I'm doing for the day. Me and Chloe talked more come the end of the year, and stayed in touch with doing that team race. And like me and Hannah did a 9-hour race with each other a couple weeks prior to the team race that me and Chloe did. But no, I mean, I would say we're all relatively close and kind of stay in touch when we can and help each other out when we can. We all have each other's cell phone numbers. I think we're all a very outgoing group and very easy to talk to, like any of us. We're just very open and honest with things. So, no, I would say we're very close.
That's really awesome to hear that the competitors are friends as well as, you know, you're racing for championships, money, sponsors. There's so much involved in it, and you can still be friends. And I think that that is pretty amazing and awesome. You don't find that very often in sport. So, congratulations to
No,
you, ladies.
yeah, you don't. And like going back to that, it's like a fine line. And I've never talked to the girls about it, but out there, like how I said, we talk to each other almost every week and we're very friendly at the track. Like we bike the track together sometimes. So, we're all very close, but when we get out there, it's a different mindset to where like you're still friends, but obviously we're competing for, to make our sponsors look good, to compete for ourselves because everybody wants to take first. But like on the starting line, we're giving each other high fives, hugs, like it's all friendly out there. We're competing against each other. And then when we come off the finish line, again, it's hugs and, we're happy for each other. We're not upset that we didn't get that position, or at least I guess I can speak for myself. I'm happy for everybody else, even though maybe I didn't do as good as I wanted to. But I feel all of us are older and mature enough to be happy, even though maybe the outcome isn't what we wanted. But, it's just racing's like a big family, your family that you're not blood related, but you're there for each other.
I 1,000,000% agree to that. Out of all the races this year, please don't say Ironman. Which one is the most memorable for you, and which is sticking in your mind the most?
Well, this year I got to go with Florida because I won Florida and that was my best overall finish, which was third. And I was, the 4x4s, a couple of them broke down. Again, didn't do as good as what they had hoped for, but I was able to get the whole shot, lead the race. I enjoy Florida. I'm used to working outside in the heat, doing landscaping, so I feel my body's conditioned for that. And then riding down south a lot in the wintertime, just coming into Florida strong. And I feel like I have a lot of upper body strength from doing landscaping. And that stands out to me because that was my best overall finish. And I was able to stand up on the podium with the other two 4x4 pro. And that was a big accomplishment for me this year.
That's a pretty good way to put it. As far as accomplishments goes, until you're the one that's standing up there in the number one spot, which from talking to Cody, it has happened and does happen.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen it, or have you been
in the like with the 4x4s?
Taking the overall in the morning race?
Just third is my best overall. And I don't think a women's pro has gotten third overall in quite some time before that.
Okay, that's good to know. I don't have, I struggle because I don't have all the history, and if I didn't have so many irons in the fire, I'd probably do more due diligent as far as looking for some of those facts, because it would help sometimes if I knew what I was talking about. I apologize. What changes do you think you'll make? And if you don't want to give any secrets out, you don't have to. Heading into 2024 to make it a second time being the champ?
So one big thing that stands out to me and that I've realized, I knew this, but standing more out this year is just field sections for me, especially in Ironman. Me and Hannah went back and forth between second and third multiple times the last two laps, just in the fields. And I know I'm very strong in the woods and in the tight sections, but in the more wide open, fast, flowy fields, I'm not as great. So I know I'm going to be practicing on that just to be as strong as the other girls in the fields. So that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Overall, I mean, I don't think there's any major bike changes that I'm going to do. I'm happy with all the sponsors I have and the setup that I do have. Maybe tweaking things here or there, but nothing major on that. Yeah, I would just say, just try to be in a little bit better shape. I mean, most of the time coming off the track, I pushed it as hard as I could. And sometimes I felt sick to my stomach, like I was going to throw up afterwards. So I knew, okay, I need to work out a little bit harder come the next race and just be in a little bit better condition. But most of all, I felt pretty decent coming off the track. So I don't think I have to work too much on getting in better shape, but just maintaining the shape that I'm in, if not getting a little bit better, throughout the winter.
So I want to ask you this, based on the last two rounds, do you feel that the position that you ended up in third, those two races, do you think a portion of it was stress related, or do you think that the competition level, Hannah fighting hard to knowing that she had to beat you both of those rounds, and then Chloe coming in there and winning both of those rounds, do you think that's any pretext for what's going to happen in 2024?
So the um Yeah, that's a loaded question, but the 11th round that the 11th round, the buckwheat, that one was, I'm not going to say I didn't make a mistake because I came into the corner a little too hot, but I also hit a pretty good stump that flipped my quad sideways and ended up later finding out that it bent my frame and almost snapped one of my tie rod ends and did some damage to my front end. And I came into a field section within a half a mile of the finish line, leading the race, and came in probably a little too quick, but my quad was not turning great. And it was okay in the woods, but coming into the fields, it wouldn't want to turn as sharp as what I needed it to. And with me carrying a little too much speed into it, pushed me further out, which is when Chloe snuck in and then Hanna was right behind her. So, yes, it was my mistake because I should have remembered my quad wasn't exactly how it should have been because of the mistake I made by hitting that stump. But I kind of gave up first on the 11th round because I should have defended the inside a little bit better and realized that my quad wasn't 100% right. And I feel like I could have won that race, but because of the circumstances, I ended up taking third. And I was pretty bummed because I'm like, okay, half mile from the finish line. I got this. Let's just bring her home. And then ended up third. And I'm like, well, shoot, now going into the last round is more pressure because if I would have taken first, I could have wrapped it up one round early. But at Ironman, that one was, uh, that one, we went back and forth between first, second, and third multiple times between all three of us. And I knew Chloe had to take first to wrap up her third position because she was currently fourth going into Ironman and she needed the win. And I knew Hanna was trying to take first because she needed the win and she needed me to take fourth. So I knew that all I had to do was third. And with us switching back and forth between all the positions, Chloe ended up getting me in a field section. And then Hanna, the same thing, a different field section. But then again, me and Hanna switched spots back and forth. But I don't want to say she was riding aggressive because all of us were riding aggressive. We all wanted the win. But her and Chloe were battling it out because they both needed that first. And I'm not going to say I settled for third because I was in first at one point. Because if I could make the pass, I made the pass regardless of what position I was in. But I knew that it wasn't worth it for me to battle for a first place position and end up hitting another stump or tagging a tree and making it to where I took a fourth and didn't win the championship. So I was content with taking a third, even though I knew that I could have pushed and took first, but they were battling a little harder than what I wanted to just because they knew they both needed that first. So if that makes any sense, it's not like I wasn't trying as hard as I could because I was still trying, but I knew I didn't need to battle and end up like chancing my championship just because I wanted a second or a first because I was in the position I needed to be in.
Right, right. I totally understand that. I want to go back a little farther into the year. I know you probably monitor points or watch points the whole year. At what point at this is a I got to come up with the right way to phrase the question. Um, so during the season, as it got closer and closer, as you're getting farther and farther into it, when did the championship possibility conversations start?
Well, honestly, this is a loaded question as well. The champion, I'm trying to figure out how to word this correctly. So this is going to sound maybe dumb to some, but me chasing the points and knowing how many points I am ahead, how many points I am behind, because me and Hanna were first and second, depending. We were very close the entire season. And knowing our points stressed me out more. So I actually didn't know what my points were or if I was leading or if she was leading. And I say that in all honesty. Some people might not believe me, but you can ask either Alex or Nick. They were both, they knew the whole time, but I didn't like to know because it stressed me out. And I didn't go out there to win every single race. Obviously, it's a plus, but I knew staying consistent would help me accomplish the championship at the end. So where did the championship come into play? Like that was the goal from the very beginning. And I knew that if I stayed consistent with top three every race, I had a chance for the championship. Now, after summer break was when we all like sat down and were like, okay, Jess, these are the points. This is what you need to do. This is how it's going to play out if these scenarios happen in this order. But after summer break is where it got more serious. Not that it wasn't serious the entire time, but where they sat me down and said, okay, these are the points. This is what we need to do if we want to make this happen. When the championship was the goal the entire time. So just consistency was in my head. But if I went into the race knowing that I had to take first or I had to take second, it stressed me out and it took the fun out of it. And I didn't start racing so I could be the best out there. I started racing because it was something that I enjoyed to do with my husband, and we just enjoyed to do with each other and met a lot of friends along the way. So I want to just continue to have fun with it along with being competitive. And I didn't want the entire year to be something that was stressful rather than fun.
Not to change the subject, but speaking of your husband, I was under the understanding that he was chasing a title as well.
He was. And that's why I didn't want to focus it all on me, because my championship isn't any more important than his. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to accomplish that this year, but we both worked very hard at the positions that we ended up in. And he got second for the year, but he worked his butt off as well. And I'm just grateful for the time that he put into me, knowing what was on the line for him. And even at the beginning of Ironman, I asked him before I went out there, I'm like, well, are you nervous? He's like, well, yeah, I'm nervous. I'm always nervous for your race. I said, no, not for me, for you. You have a championship too. He's like, oh, I'm not worried about mine. I'm like, all right. He was just excited and happy for me. But yeah, he had the same thing on the line. He had a championship he was trying to accomplish all year as well.
Because he was focusing all of his energy and channeling it to you so that he didn't think about his. It made it easier to calm his nerves when he was going to go ride, because he was focusing on what he needed to do and where you needed to be. It's a reactionary, it's a voluntary response to making sure that you're not overwhelming yourself with yourself, if you follow what I'm getting.
Yes.
Yeah, it I totally understand why he would do it that way, because I hated points racing for myself, because it's an added stress. You don't enjoy it as much because your position your head while you're riding instead of focusing on riding. When I was a mechanic, that's all I did was calculate positions and points, and but that was my job. You understand, as the rider, you understand that. Now if the roles were reversed and you were on the outside looking at that title, you would be calculating all those things, because somebody's got to do it.
Right. Yep. He would always say, "Well, all my nerves are gone by the time my race starts because I'm nervous for you and how you're going to do, and I'm not even nervous for my race."
It's, I would love to race in his position, because you just don't have nothing to worry about. You just, all right, let's go do this.
Yep.
Right? I mean, wouldn't it
Yeah,
be easier if you got to watch him ride and then you got to go ride?
I know. Yes. I use staying busy in the morning, cooking breakfast and just trying to do things for other people and just stay active busy so I don't have time to think about my race.
Nice. So you commented that you do landscaping. What kind of training regimen are you on, or is it something that is a consistent basis with riding, cycling? Is there a specific program that you're under?
No, not a specific one that I'm under. I try to do something with cardio every time, whether it's biking, running, rowing, or the stair stepper. And then I throw in like arms with cardio one day, and then the next day would be legs with cardio, and then the next day would be like abs and back with cardio. So it's all mixed in with cardio, but I don't want to do one more than the other because you use every muscle in your body that you can think of, and then after you race, you find more muscles that you didn't even know were in your body that are sore after the race. So you really try to just do like full body workouts, but splitting it up so you're not completely exhausted. Like the one day I was shoveling and raking stone, and I did that all morning till about 1 or 2 o'clock. And Alex is like, "Oh, we got to go to the gym and work out tonight." I was like, "All right, well, what are we doing?" He said, "Oh, it's leg day." I'm like, "All right, so we'll work out legs," because I did my arms with shoveling and raking all day. The next day, I was so sore because I worked out my arms in the morning and my legs in the afternoon. And the next day, I was shot. I'm like, "All right, I can't do that again," because I just physically exhausted my entire body.
When you get ready to go to the races, what's the last day you train before you guys go to the racetrack?
On Thursday. So we'll do a lighter workout Thursday, whether it's just cardio or going, because I don't like to do, he does different workouts than I do because he does have someone training him, but I do slightly different workouts than him. We both do like arms and legs the same day just so we're next to each other doing the same workouts, but just in different increments, maybe different movements. Um, he likes squats. I like lunges, different things like that. I mean, they're both leg workouts, but different movements. But yeah, Thursday is he can do, he's tougher than I am, I like to say. So he does a harder workout Thursday, but I like to just do maybe a little bit of cardio just to kind of loosen everything up, make sure nothing's too sore for Friday, because Friday we either bike or walk the track, not the whole thing, but sections of it. So we still get a little bit of a workout in Friday, but nothing too intense because I don't want to be sore for Saturday. Well, we still have mountain bikes, but we did use those on the track, but that is very, very challenging. And I don't want to bike the track on a regular bike the day before the race. It might be cheating, but it is very helpful having the e-bike because of the terrain that you're on and the hills that you have to climb. But there are people that
Yes,
do it.
I heard all this before. Yeah, I want to know the difference when you walk the track versus e-bike the track or bike the track. Do you still catch the same lines or the same things that are going to help you during the race? Is there a distinct difference between the two uh, disciplines in education? Because educating yourself on the terrain is really what we're talking about.
Yeah, for me, there is, because I'm not great on an e-bike and I'm way stronger just walking the track because everything is slowed down to where I can focus on what I'm actually looking at. To where sometimes when I'm riding the e-bike, if it comes to a more difficult situation, I might be more focused on not wrecking rather than looking up and trying to figure out what lines I can take. So for some people, biking the track is super beneficial and a lot of people do it. So I feel the better I get at biking, the better that will be for me because I can cover more of the track in a faster time and see more of it. But for now, biking the track isn't as strong as just me walking it because I can see a lot more just walking.
Cody Collier, I talked to him quite a bit because we do the pre-race and the race report with it. He says he walks the track, tries to walk every time. Unfortunately, he's missed a couple of times, but he likes that over the biking because of exactly what you said. He gets to notice more
Mhm.
different things. He also
Yeah,
said it allows him to speak to more of the other competitors.
I agree with that. Yep, because you pass a lot of people when you're in the
Did you
woods.
catch that?
You said that he was able to talk to more people. Yeah, I would agree with that because you're not just zooming by him on a bike, and you can, walk and talk a little bit as you're looking at the track. I do agree that you are able to talk to more people that you see out there because there's a lot of people out there walking the track still. There's a lot that do the bike, but there's a lot that still walk as well.
What time does the e-bike race kick off in the afternoon? And how much do they sweep and get you guys off the course so that the e-bikes can race, or is it just they just start the race and you guys got to get out of the way?
They used to do the e-bike race on Saturday after we were done, after the afternoon race, but they started doing it on Fridays at 4. And they don't, to my knowledge, they don't sweep the track and make sure everybody's off, but they do have a specific track for the e-bikes that most of the time people aren't riding that, they're riding the ATV track. So they're not on the entire e-bike track, but I don't believe they sweep the track and make sure everybody's off. You just, you know, I think now people know what time it is and what's happening at the races at those times, to where they're more aware of, okay, if I'm out on the track at this time, the e-bike race is going on, or they can hear the national anthem playing and they know a race is going to be starting, and they kind of know just to either not be on the track or to watch for it or get out of the way.
I was talking to the setup for the pre-race, and the count going in, they were thinking that there was somewhere around 35,000 people at Ironman. Did you hear that?
I didn't hear the exact count, but I know, I believe there was 477 racers in the AM, which is over double. I don't know.
470.
Yeah, just in the AM. And then there was more. There was, I think there was 200 and something in the PM race. But yeah, 477 four-wheelers just at starting at 10, going from 10 to noon. And that's honestly
So
something
let
I
me
was.
ask you this question. Finish your thought. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're okay. I was just going to say that's something that I took into consideration because I knew that taking a third was accomplishable. Yeah, that's riders that are usually out there, and just making sure that they don't make a mistake in front of me and then have fourth place catch up to me, or, come up to a bottleneck or something. It's just a little bit different mindset and race management you have to do with that many other racers out there in the woods at the same time.
Yeah, I got that. That's excellent. Thank you for repeating that. Um, have you ever thought of them moving the WXC to the afternoon race because you're a pro class and there's less riders? Maybe something that would allow you guys to maybe have to deal with less lappers. Have you guys ever thought of that, or has anybody ever approached to bring you in with the premier XC1 class?
I know it's been talked about before. I don't know if it's been talked about like through the higher up people, but just, racer to racer talking. I know it's been talked about. Um, my personal opinion, I don't know if we should, just because I base my speed off of like my husband who's races junior A, and then our friends who race in vet A, and there's some like college A riders that I know are faster than me. And if they did move us up there, I don't know where they would start us out in line, because I'm not saying every single person in those classes are faster than us, but I don't know if it would be fair for us to be right behind like XC2, because I know that like the top 5 people in my husband's class are faster than us. And I don't I don't know if moving us to the afternoon would make it harder for them, because then it's more that they have to get around to get a better overall number come the end of the year. And I don't think it's a problem with having us in the morning, because lapped riders, in my opinion, usually aren't terrible. Some racers, they're worse than others, but you really only encounter the lapped riders in like this. If it's a 4 lap race, like you get the first 2 laps pretty clear, and then the second two, you encounter the lapped riders. But most of the time, they know, because the 4x4s come and pass them, so they know the women's pro are coming up as well. So they already have that in the back of their mind that, okay, when I hear someone coming up, they're probably not in my class. They're probably a 4x4 or a women's pro. So I don't have a problem with people really moving over for me. It's just more so the experience level of them not knowing how to get through a more difficult situation, or part of the track and then they get stuck and then it messes up your race. But you're going to have that in the afternoon as well. I mean, there's still racers out there in B class that don't have as much experience as us, and you're going to, come up on them as well. So whether we race in the morning or the afternoon, I feel there's still going to be difficulties of lapped riders or people with less experience.
I agree with that. Where is your preference? The dry conditions? I know that it's probably the conditions that it's rained a couple days ahead of time. The dirt's perfect. There's no dust. There's no mud. But
Yeah.
if you have to pick dust or mud, what are you going to?
I'm probably going to pick mud just because I feel I'm a little stronger in the mud than I am the dust. The dust is still hard, but it's not as challenging as the mud. And I feel the mud separates you a lot more with skill level. And the dust is just, you know, challenging to see, but in my opinion, not really challenging to ride in. It's just challenging to see what's coming ahead of you and what you're going to encounter. But the mud, I feel, distinguishes the skill level a little bit better.
I did not expect that answer. Um, Beings from the West Coast, where rocks and dust are our nemesis. Um, I don't ever want to ride in the mud, not because I can't. It's I don't want to clean the bike afterwards. It's just horrible.
Well,
But
you didn't ask me
when
bike.
it's like when you race in the mud, you take your goggles off. No, I didn't. No, I did not. Um, so when you take your goggles off and you can't see in the mud, I don't know if it's the same as you're going through the desert in the chop and you're in fifth gear, three-quarter throttle, and you can't see the front bumper. Um, that's a little unnerving. So
It definitely
I would
is.
kind of, I'm not disagreeing with your, yeah, I know that riding in the dust was always there's a system to doing it, and some people can do it and some people can't.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And you have to, if you're following someone in front of you, you have to trust them because the closer you follow them, the less dust you'll get from them. I found out, but it's also dangerous because if they make a mistake, like you're going to make that mistake as well because you're very close. But the dust is way easier to clean up after. But I feel like I would prefer to ride in the mud over the dust.
Either way, there's hidden gotchas.
Yes.
I guess it comes down to just rider preference. Um, I've never been able to enjoy being wet and muddy. It's just never been appealing to me.
Yeah,
You laugh.
there's
It's
a
because
lot
I'm a
of
West Coast, you know, West Coast guy.
there's a lot of crit crossings that we have
Go
to
ahead.
do. So there's a lot of crit crossings we have to do. So I feel like regardless, some part of your body always gets wet and you just become used to it, I guess, and expect it. But I don't think anybody prefers it.
Is isn't the riding conditions where you live more conducive to being wetter and dealing with more moist conditions or wet conditions just by the region that you live in?
Yeah, I would say the majority of the time you have to deal with rain and the track being muddy over being too dry. Now, it all depends because I feel we had a very wet summer, but it, we've had times where it's a very dry summer. But I would say more so than not, it's going to be more wet than it will be dry.
Do you ride in the cold weather at all?
Yeah, we ride here around the house as long as we can going into winter, and to where like I'll have Under Armour on and then a hoodie underneath my chest protector as well. So we do ride in cold weather. Um, like we'll ride the quads in the snow, but not to train. I've never rode in the snow just to train. I've rode in the snow for fun, but we do ride as long as we can because the less trips we have to take down south over winter, the better. But yeah, I mean, even if we have a mild winter, we're still able to ride here. Just bundle up a little bit more, and your reactive time isn't as fast, but you're still getting riding in.
How many trips would you normally characteristically take down south to prepare for the beginning of the year?
We go as often as we can. We try to go with a group of us so that way we can split the cost of fuel and just take like one vehicle with the trailer and pack all the quads in the trailer. But I would say we try to go 1 to 2 times in December. It's kind of hard with the banquet and Christmas and then New Year's. But in January, we'd probably go 3 times, and then February maybe another 2 times. So maybe 5 to 7 times we try to make a trip down. It just depends on everybody else's schedule and the weather as well, because they get rain down there too, depending on if we try to go to the Carolinas just because Florida is a far drive. But yeah, we kind of base it off of weather down there or weather up here. But I would say 5 to 7 times we try.
I believe you're in Ohio, if I'm not mistaken, which
Yes.
is the weather get that severe where you're okay. Quick, sharp answer. Yes. From the guy that doesn't ever see snow.
It It can. Yeah, in Ohio, we can have really hard winters that snow a lot, or we can have mild winters, but like last year, we didn't get a whole lot of snow, but it was really, really cold a couple weeks in a row. Like you'll have one week super cold, the next week's not as cold, and then the following week will be really cold. But the wind chill with the freezing temperatures is terrible. Like way too cold to ride in.
Yeah, I can totally see that. No, thanks. Do you guys snowmobile at all?
We don't. We used to. Um, and we have some friends with snowmobiles that we go every now and then, but it's it's honestly hard because like I said, last year we didn't get a whole lot of snow. So to be able to snowmobile, you almost have to go to like Michigan or yeah, I mean we've been to Michigan a couple times just snowmobiling, but it's Ohio. We used to get a lot more snow to be able to snowmobile here, but it's more so just cold temperatures rather than the amount of snow we get.
Mhm. Have you ever thought of transplanting down, to Florida or South Carolina, Georgia, or anything like that, so that you could ride more year round? Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, don't forget to share us with your family and friends. The podcast is available on all streaming platforms, and you can find us on social media as ATV-TALK Podcast. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Rumble, and Twitter.